This is Jemal King, AKA the 9-to-5 Millionaire. Now look, I know a lot of you guys thinking right now, like, man, why they call you the 9-to-5 Millionaire? Look, that's because I kept my job as a Chicago police officer while becoming a millionaire through investing in real estate. And look, that's exactly what I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to tell you that I know a lot of you heard the thing about in order to become a millionaire, you got to quit your 9-to-5. But look, I kept my 9-to-5 and I still became a millionaire. See, a lot of people out here, they talk about, man, you need to quit your 9-to-5. You need to follow your dreams and follow your passion. Well, look, I still lived my dreams and I still followed my passion, all while having my 9-to-5. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I became the 9-to-5 millionaire and exactly what you have to do to become a 9-to-5 millionaire. What's up, DMV? What's up, man? Y'all can be seated. Yeah, we about to have some fun. Man, I've been waiting. I know y'all been seeing me in the corner over there all day long. And then every time CJ like, hey, bro, you coming up next, Dude, man, finally here. Y'all get your pen and paper out, because we about to write. I want y'all to write this down, what I'm about to say. And not just write it down, I want you to think about it. What do you want? Title that at the top of your paper right now. What do you want? Like straight up, think about it. What do you want in your life? What do you want in your marriage? What do you want in your business? What do you want? When's the last time somebody asked you that question? Better yet, when's the last time you asked yourself that question? What do you want in life? See, it's been my experience that people don't know what they want in life because they stop imagining. Like, people really stop closing their eyes and imagining. So what I need y'all to do right now, I want you to close your eyes. Everybody in the room, close your eyes. And I want you to sit back right now and I want you to think about, what would the ideal life look like for you? What do you see? What type of business is it that you want to start? What type of house do you want to live in? I want you to see it. Literally, close your eyes and go into the house right now. Don't go into the house where you're looking at yourself going in the house, but go inside the house like when you're going to touch the doorknob, you see your hand reaching out to touch the doorknob. What does that house look like? That business that you always wanted to start. I want you to see it. The reason why I got you closing your eyes right now is because it's waiting on you. Notice I said it's waiting on you. I need you to see it. I need you to focus on this every single day, whatever that vision is you see. Even if it's a spouse that you're waiting on. I need you to see what type of spouse you want. I need you guys to get in the habit of visualizing the life you want. Open your eyes. Guys, I'm telling y'all, you have to see it. When I was a kid, my parents used to do this thing where they would ask us, what do you want to be when you grow up? Kind of similar to what I just asked y'all. They would ask us, what you want to be when you grow up? And it was one time in particular, my dad had a camcorder out, he had a recorder, and there wasn't no iPhones back then, so he had the big recorder on the shoulder, and he was like, you know, my dad was a Chicago police officer, and my mom was a Cook County sheriff, and my dad would line me and my brother and my two sisters up, and he would ask us. He started with my oldest sister first, and I'll never forget this one time. He had the camera on my sister, and he said, Carla, baby girl, what do you want to be when you grow up? My sister looked into the camera, and she was like, Dad, I want to be a school teacher. My dad was like, oh, Carla, that's great. The world needs school teachers. To this day, my sister is the school teacher in Houston, Texas. Oh, that's right. My brother was next in line, right? And so my brother, that's Junior. He's named after my dad. And so, you know, my dad, he was just like, all right, Junior, hey, it's your turn. You know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my brother looked at my dad, and he had, you know, this little smile on his face. And he said, Dad, I want to be a police officer just like you. And then my dad, like, he had tears in his eyes. And my dad was like, you know what, Junior? The world needs police officers. That's a great profession. And I was next in line. Well, you know, my little sister, though, she was tugging at my dad's leg. She was about 4 years old. And then my dad said, Jemal, hold on a second. He said, baby girl, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then she looked and she said, Dad, I want to be a school teacher, just like my big sister. And to this day, my sister is a principal in Houston, Texas. So then it was my turn. And I was the problem child. And I was that kid that just couldn't get right. And so my dad was like, and then my brothers and sisters, you know, we wanted to go outside and play and things like that. So they was looking at me like, man, just make daddy happy, Jemal. Just make daddy happy. And so I'm like, you know, so he said, okay, son, now you on camera. He was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember looking at my dad. Then I remember looking at my siblings. And I remember looking back at the camera. And I said, I want to be a millionaire. And to this day, let's go. Let's go. Let's go, man. It's power in the tongue. Does anybody still believe that? I can't hear you. It's power in the tongue. I'm telling you, it's power in the tongue. And then my dad was, he was shocked. Because my dad worked a 9 to 5 his whole life, and he didn't expect that. And he was like, well, And he was like, well, son, how are you going to get your millions? And then that clicked for me. Because that was the first time that I ever had to think about destination and a vehicle. See, becoming a millionaire was the destination, right? How was I going to get there, though? I needed a vehicle. And see, some of you are getting your vehicles confused with your destinations. And you're getting your destinations confused with your vehicle. Come on, man, y'all got to write that down, man. We about to have some fun. I told y'all. Write that down. Some of you getting your destinations confused with your vehicle. Some of you said, hey, I want to be a teacher, right? You made that your destination when really that was your vehicle. What's your destination? Write that down. What is your destination? So for me, I was like, well, I was looking on TV and I didn't see many millionaires that looked like me. So the only thing I saw was football players. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go to the NFL. That's how I'm going to make my millions. So I started playing high school football. I was all state. Ended up having over 20 scholarship offers. I ended up going to Division I college. And then I was playing in college. And I was a team captain. I was starting. I was like, oh, man, this is easy. It was my senior year. I'm like, man, I'm about to get ready and get drafted. I'm like, man, this is simple. I'm about to realize my dream. I'm about to realize my destination at an early age. So it was my senior year, the last game of the year. And then we started training for the NFL draft. And so here it is. You know, we had a thing called Pro Day. So here it is. We're training. I'm working out. I'm bench pressing 225 pounds over 30 times. I'm running a 40 in a 4.5 seconds. You know, for everybody that ever played football, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And so here it is. I'm getting ready for the draft. I'm like, man, this is too simple. My dream is about to finally happen. I'm about to finally realize my dream of getting drafted. And then 2 months later, I got drafted into the Chicago Police Department. Hey, y'all laughing. Y'all laughing. But at the time, man, I was messed up. I was hurt. I was crying. I was suffering from what I call PTSD, post-traumatic sports disorder. That's where you're the man in school. Everything about you says NFL. I'm sitting here 6'3", 225 pounds of muscle. I didn't know how to do anything else but play football. I'm telling y'all, this PTSD is for real. Anybody that plays sports in high school or college that's suffering from PTSD, please stand up. I need y'all to keep standing, because I need to talk to y'all right now. I need to talk to y'all, man. Everybody up here, please look at me. Please. I need y'all to understand this because I suffered for this for a long time. The sport did not make you great. You made the sport great. And that's why they recruited us. We were the ones that made the sport great. So now what you got to do is take that same fight. You got to take that same dog you had on the field, and you got to turn it over into your life now. You got to take that same fight you had and turn it over into business now. This game right here lasts forever. If you play this game right, you can still have whatever it is that you wanted. Remember, whatever sport you played, it was just the vehicle. It was the vehicle. We played this sport because we wanted to take care of our family. You still can take care of your family. But the difference is that when you play this game of life right, you can take care of your family forever. It's not going to end with an ACL. It's not going to end because of a contract dispute. It's not going to end because somebody don't like you. I'm telling you, take that fight that you had and turn it over into business and watch how successful you are. Y'all can be seated. So y'all, I was lost. So I didn't know what I was going to do. So here it is. The only thing that I did, the only thing that I was familiar with was the family business. My dad was a police officer. My mother was a police officer. My brother was a police officer. My uncles were all police officers. So I did what was familiar to me. I did what was familiar to me because I didn't know what else to do. I need y'all to write this down. How many of y'all right now are doing what you're doing in life right now is because it's what's familiar to you? It's because that's what your exposure level was. So here it is. I'm working in the streets of Chicago as a police officer, not knowing what I'm really doing here, but just doing it because I didn't know what else to do. And it was this one call in particular. This one call in particular I had, it changed my life. We were driving, it was at midnight. Me and my partner was together. And you know, I know all y'all know about the streets of Chicago. I was working in one of the worst districts called the Gresham District in Chicago. Led to city and homicides. We're working, and it's at midnight, and we get a call. And the call was juveniles outside, curfew violations. And so here it is. We're like, hey, we'll take that call. Real simple. We drive. We pull up on 5 juveniles standing outside in a circle. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Here they go. You know, let's go ahead. Let's check their ID or whatever. Let's see where they live. Let's take them home. So I get out the car, and I talk to one kid in particular, and I say, how you doing, guys? I'm Officer King. You know, you guys are out past curfew. You know, where do you live? And the kids told us where they live. And so I was like, okay, cool. We're going to just pat you down, and we're going to put you in the back of the car and take you home. Because it's customary, anytime you put somebody in the back of the car, you want to pat them down and make sure that they don't have a weapon. So here it is. It was one kid in particular. I go up to this kid to go pat him down. And as I go to reach to pat him down, the kid turns around, pushes me, take off and running. Now, I told y'all 2 months ago I was just training for the NFL. So I was like, yo, dude, kid, you really want to do this? Like, I'm trying to make some tackles real quick, you know. Hey, that PTSD is for real. And so I take off and I chase after the kid running down a dark alley. And then I'm like 5 yards behind him. And then the kid dashes off in between 2 apartment buildings. The kid can't go left or right. He can only go straight. In front of him is this tall, like 10-foot fence with barbed wire in it. So the kid runs, jumps up on the fence, is trying to climb over and getting caught up in the barbed wire. I'm like, kid, come on down, man. I'm like, hey, I got you. Come on, man. Let me just take you home. I reach up to go grab the kid. And as I reach up to go pull him down off the fence, the kid pulls out a Tech 9 and points it right in my head and starts to hold down the trigger. I'm sitting here holding the gun and moving to the side. As I'm holding the gun, the kid is letting out 16 rounds. I could feel the fire come from the gun. And I knew that the gun was burning my hands, but I couldn't let it go, because if I let it go, then he would have shot me in the head. Man, it's crazy. It was just like it was yesterday. As I'm holding the gun, my partner was an old timer. He finally pulls up. guess he was busy drinking his coffee and eating his donuts. He finally pulls up, gets out the car, and then he sees the bullets coming out. He thinks the bullets are at him, so he starts to shoot in both of our directions. The kid falls over the fence, drops his gun. I hit the ground and take cover, and my partner's just standing there shooting and screaming. The kid takes off, runs. My partner finally comes over, and he's just like, man, I didn't even see you over there, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You all right? You all right? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fine. We call in a chase and gave the description of the kid. Supervisors all come on the scene. My sergeant comes up to us and like, okay, hey, you guys all right? And I'm like, I'm shook up a little bit, Sarge, but I'm going to be okay. My sergeant's like, okay, that's good, that's good. Good news is we got the gun. The bad news is that something that somebody is probably dead in this apartment building across the street because of what you guys just did. My partner comes over to me when our sergeant walks away, and he's like, man, Jemal, man, we in big trouble, man. You know, something we did, man. Our bullets, I was like, man, dude, you speaking French, homie. I was like, no, you. So my sergeant puts us in a car, separates us, put me in one squad car, put my partner in the back of another squad car, takes our guns from us, and says that we have to knock on every single door of this 18-unit building to make sure nobody's in there dead. They told every single unit to stay off of the radio. I remember sitting in the back of the squad car, and I remember, man, just thinking to myself, like, man, all I wanted to do was just work a job with some benefits. All I wanted to do was just have a little job security. But now here it is, I'm 22 years old and I'm sitting in the back of a squad car. I've never been in the rest of the day of my life. And now my first time in the back of the squad car, I got a badge on? So then the commander gave the call for them to go inside the building. And they said, if nobody answers the door, I want you to kick in the door. I'm in a car listening to this while it's all taking place. Heart just racing. And all I heard was unit number 1. Nobody answered, so they kicked in the door. They're like, Chicago police, is anybody here? The radio was just silent. And then finally they came back on the air and said, okay, everybody's accounted for, nobody's hurt. Y'all, we went through this for 18 units. 18 units we went through this. Thank God nobody was injured in that building. But I always said that day that call we got was my wake-up call. Write this down. What will your wake-up call look like? What will your wake-up call look like in life? What will your wake-up call be to where you say you're going to take full responsibility of your financial future? So my sergeant came back to the car after they went through all 18 units. They opened up the door and let me out the car, then patted me on my back and said, good job, rookie. Good job. Everything is okay. Y'all, I was done. That very moment, something happened to me and I was done. But see, listen to what I said. I was done. I was done with the mindset that I was going to let this job take care of me for the next 30 years. But I wasn't finished with the vehicle. Come on, I'm going to say that again. I'm going to talk to this side over here. I was done with the mindset that I was going to let this job take care of me for the next 30 years. But I wasn't finished with the vehicle. I wasn't going to leave my one stream of income. I wasn't going to leave my one stream of income. And that's the problem with some of y'all. Some of you guys are quick. You get a little taste of success, and then you're quick to cut off your one income stream. So I got a phone call from my friend, a buddy of mine that was playing football. He was in the NFL. He was one of my teammates. And he called me up after the shooting took place, and he was like, "Hey, Jay, I heard you got shot." And I was like, "No, I didn't get shot. I got shot at." And he's like, "Man, all the fellas was just saying, man, we heard you got in the shooting." He's like, "Bro, anytime you want to come to Baltimore and you want to get away," he was like, "Bro, man, the door is open for you." He said, "Anytime you want to come." I was like, "Man, I'm going to take you up on that right now. I'm about to leave Chicago." So I went ahead, man, like that weekend. I got in the car and I drove to Baltimore, and I still remember that drive. It was just raining outside. It was lightning and thunder, one of the longest drives I've ever had. And, I mean, it was just storming. And I remember getting to his gated community. And it was crazy because it had these huge gates in the front of it and it had a guard. And I ain't never seen nothing like that coming from Chicago. And so I pulled up, the guard comes out, and he's like, "Who are you here to see?" And I told him. He saw my name on the list, and he said, "Yep, I got you right here, 1 second." The guy goes back inside, and he opens up the gates. As I'm driving through the gates, the rain just stopped. And then the sun came out. It was like entering into the gates of heaven. I mean, it was just beautiful. I remember driving through, and as I was driving through, I remember seeing mansions all lining the streets. I remember seeing little kids outside with little plaid outfits. You know? I remember seeing like wives or women all together just walking the neighborhood like they didn't have a job. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, man, even the birds was even singing a different song. You know, it was just crazy. And that's why, and I didn't even get to my boy house yet. I was just driving through the gates, and this is what I saw. And that's why I tell y'all, you got to get outside of your surroundings. See, your level of exposure will determine your level of success. Write that down. Your level of exposure will determine your level of success. Listen to this, y'all. Everything I saw that day, I now have. Wow. I'm going to say it again. Everything I saw that day, I now have. My boy had a 10,000 square foot mansion. I got an 18,000 square foot mansion. I seen all them women that day walking the streets like they didn't have a job. I retired my wife at age 22. Yes. Those little kids with those plaid outfits stood in the back of my mind. And now my daughters wear them same plaid outfits. Let's go, man. I'm telling you, everything I saw that day, what are y'all looking at? Where are you going? Who are you hanging with? What are you being exposed to? That's why maybe you don't have it. In order to come up with what you want, you got to step outside your boundaries. You got to know what it looked like. Those images stayed in the back of my mind, and therefore it manifested. Come on, man. I'm telling y'all some real stuff right now. So I finally got to my boy's house, right? And he was like, "Jay, I know you're hungry, man." He said, "I know you've been on the road. I know you're hungry." He said, "Me and some of my teammates, we're about to go get something to eat." So we hopped in this Bentley. We jumped out of my 1996 Chevy Blazer and hopped in this Bentley. And we started heading to this restaurant. And he was like, "Yeah, man, we about." I was like, "Where we going?" You know? And he's like, "Oh, man, we about to go to this nice little restaurant or whatever." And, you know, and I'm over here asking a lot of questions, right? You know, because I'm just not used to this whole life. And so we pull up. He got his other NFL buddies. We pull up to this steak restaurant, and the manager comes outside. And I'll never forget, he was like, "Gentlemen, this way." And, you know, all the guys in the league, they walking. You know, I'm like, you know, so I'm walking with them, you know, like I fit in or whatever. And we get there, and they take us to this back room. And I'll never forget it, man. I'm telling y'all some real stuff. We get to the back room, and the table was already set up, you know, and as they were bringing water out, the guys was getting ready to sit down, and they just start telling the waiter, like, hey, I want a filet mignon. I want lobster tail. I want that porterhouse steak. And the waitress was just taking down the orders, and I'm like, man, this is something different. And so it came around to me, and the waiter was like, do you know what you want? I was like, yeah, I want a menu. I was like, man, I need to see a menu, because one of these steaks on here could be my light bill or something for the month. So I was like, man, I need to see. And then the guys was like, they was looking at me funny. And then my boy was like, Jay, just get what you want. Like, bro, just get what you want, bro. We know what we want. We don't do that. We don't need to look at the menu. Just get what you want. But y'all, I was really, I didn't know what I wanted. I was really confused. I could not say what I wanted without seeing a menu. Y'all gonna catch this in a minute. You're gonna catch, my man right here got it already. I couldn't, I was like, I don't know what I want. And then so finally, the waitress went ahead and tossed the menu to me on the table, and I was like, okay, you got jokes. So I picked the menu up, and everybody was looking at me. All the 1%ers that was at the table was looking at me. And when I opened up the menu, my eyes went straight to the right side of the menu. All y'all know what the right side is, right? What is it? It's the prices. So I ain't the only one that did that, right? It's the prices. I would look at the prices of the menu, and then I would take the top 5 items that I could afford, and then I would choose the best item off of the ones that I can afford. The crazy part about it is y'all laughing, but some of y'all doing that with your life. I'm talking food. But some of y'all doing that with your life. Some of you guys are making decisions solely based off the right side of the menu. Some of you are counting the cost of an item when dealing with your life. You cannot go through life looking at the right side of the menu when making decisions for your life. It's a cause and an effect to everything in life. And if you go through life only making decisions for your spouse, only making decisions for your children, only making decisions for your health based on what the cost is, then you a thief. And you robbing your family of having the full experience of life. You're a thief. You're cheating them. You have to go through life making the best decision because it's the best decision and not the cheapest. You have to go through life making a decision because it's the best decision and not because it's the cheapest. If you go through life only making the cheapest decisions, it will come back and bite you in the butt later on in life. Diabetes just don't pop up overnight. It comes from eating the cheapest food over and over and over again. You think you're saving money, but it's going to cost you double in the future. And if you're not careful, it could even cost you your life. So we left the restaurant, and at this point, my mind was like, whoa, what else am I looking to the right side of the menu on? So we went back to my boy's house, and I'll never forget, man. We was in his library, and we were sitting, and it was just the two of us. And he looked at me and he said, man, Jay, would you ever believe that we would be living like this? My man was living in a 10,000 square foot mansion, and I was living in my parents' basement at the time. And I looked at him like, we're not living like this. You living like this. We're not living like this. And he was like, no, Jay. But you got your pension, your benefits, you got your job security on your job. He's like, I'm just saying, bro, when we was in college, did you ever think that we would be, on this grown man level like this? And he said, I know that I never would have thought that I've been getting stuff like this. He reached in his pocket and then pulled out this envelope and put it on the table. I was like, what's this? So I opened it up. It was a check for $200,000. Now, at the time, I was making $1,200 every 2 weeks as a police officer. So I ain't never seen no money like that. I was making $36,000 a year. And that's before taxes. And he pulls out a $200,000 check, and I'm like, whoa, the NFL pay y'all for the year up front? He said, no, bro, this is what I made today. I was like, bro, you make $200,000 a game? Now, I was at the game that he played. My boy had 7 or 8 tackles that game, which is pretty good for a linebacker. But I was in Chicago locking up 7 or 8 offenders. My boy made 2 game-saving tackles. But I was in Chicago saving lives. And I was making $1,200 every 2 weeks. And he was making $200,000 a week. Couldn't go out like that, y'all. Y'all know this ain't the end of the story, right? I couldn't go out like that. At that very moment, I had to make a decision. I need y'all to write that down. Make a decision. I left my friend's house, and I drove back home to Chicago. And on that ride back home, y'all can only imagine what that exposure level was. It was so great that weekend that I couldn't deny it. I couldn't. To deny what I just saw would have been like lying to myself. I had to make a decision at that very moment that I could be like everybody else. All the other friends we had, well, they were just like, hey, we just the have-nots, and he's the have. He's supposed to have it, and we not. It's just good enough to be his friend. I'm just happy to say, hey, my boy got a 10,000 square foot house. My boy drive a Bentley. My boy got kids with plaid uniforms. I had to make a decision, or was I going to man up and say, I deserve this too. My family deserves this too. I made a decision that very moment. So when I got back to Chicago, it was different. I remember seeing things totally different. I went back to work and I saw that, see, write this down. 1%ers believe that time is your greatest asset. Not money, it's time. 1%ers believe that time is so much their greatest asset that they'll pay you, they'll give you money for yours. They'll buy your time. So, we got this thing at the police department, right? It's called the hole. It's called the hole. The hole is where you just get away from the public, right? It's where you try to get some free time. It's where whenever you got free time, you go off to the side, hide away somewhere, and you watch a movie, you on social media, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, that's the hole. That's the hole. That's where the cops have free time. But see, what I need y'all to realize is that free time is really not free. It needs to be called expensive time. Because how you utilize that time will determine your success. One thing I noticed about the hole is whatever an officer did in the hole, he became. What are you doing in your hole? Write this down, man. What are y'all doing in your hole? Everybody got a hole. And I'm sitting here telling you, whatever you're doing with your free time, you will become. So if you're spending your free time watching a bunch of garbage on TV, guess what? You're going to become garbage. Your mindset is going to become garbage. In the hole is when I wrote down the blueprint of my life. It was in the hole. I'm telling y'all, it was in the hole. When I wrote down, what does it cost to be me? What is the cost of me? Write that down. What is the cost of you? Meaning in the hole, I said, well, if anything ever happened to me, if I ever get into another shooting and lose my life, or if I lose my job, how much would it cost for my family to maintain this standard of living? How much? How many people know what it costs to be them monthly? Raise your hand. That's like a quarter of the room. But watch this. How many people in the room know how much they make every month? Raise your hand. How is it that more people know what they make every month but don't know how much they spend? Awareness. Write that down. 1%ers have awareness. So in the hole is where I wrote down what was the cost of me. I wrote down every single bill that I had in my life. And then I said I'm going to buy a building for every bill. It was in the hole that I wrote down the concept of having a building for every bill. So if I ever lost my job, if anything ever happened to me, then my lifestyle would never change. I did all of that in the hole. And so while I was in the hole, I looked at 77 properties. 77 properties I looked at in the hole, and this is when I bought my first one. This property here was a 4-unit brick building in Chicago. It cost me $125,000. It cost me $25,000 to renovate it. Now, I know what a lot of y'all probably thinking, like I was thinking at the time. I don't have $25,000 to renovate a property. Like, where would that come from? But I didn't know at the time that it was mortgage lenders out here that gives you the money to fix the property up. Your only responsibility is paying a 10% of the overall purchase and rehab amount. Once I put the $25,000 into that $125,000 building, the ARV means the after repaired value. That means that's how much the property is valued at. It was $280,000. So that means instantly, with buying this property, I had over $130,000 in equity. My down payment was $15,000. I financed $135,000. My mortgage was $1,150 every month. Watch this, y'all. It was 4 apartments in this building. Each apartment was grossing me $1,050. So that means my total monthly cash flow, the gross, was $4,200. My mortgage payment was $1,150. So after I paid the mortgage, I was netting $3,050 a month off this one property. And I was still making $1,200 every 2 weeks as a police officer getting shot at. So check this out. I took the $4,200 in gross rents, right? If you multiply it by 12 months, I'm making $50,000 a year in gross rents. The net was $36,000 a year. So that means I'm netting the same exact amount that I was grossing on the police department. I've had this building for over 18 years. So if you take that same gross amount, that $50,000, and you multiply it by 18 months, 18 years, that comes out to over $907,000 that I grossed from this one property. If you take the net of $36,000, multiply that by 18 years, I have netted over $658,000 on one property. So I was like, hey, if this worked once, I might as well try it again. So I took a line of credit from the first property to purchase my second property. My second property now was a 6-unit building. It was $150,000 was the purchase price. The ARV, remember, the after repair value was $480,000. The rehab cost was $50,000. So that meant I had over $280,000 in equity. My down payment on this one was 20% because it's commercial, it's not residential. So I had to put down $30,000, but I got the seller to cover half of that. So I only had financed $135,000. My mortgage on this one was $1,500. If you take the rents, 6 units, so I had $900 each apartment. That means I was bringing in $5,400 in total gross rents. You subtract the mortgage of $1,500, I was netting $3,900 on my second property every single month of my life. I'm showing you now how I'm becoming a 1%er. I'm showing you the process of how I became a 1%er. Here it is. I had two properties. I did this all in 1 year. That I'm netting now $6,900 from both of my properties. If you look at this building, you multiply the gross rent by 12 months, I was grossing $64,000 a year. If you look at the net, that $3,900 by 12 months, that's $46,000 that I was netting. So I was netting more off this second property than I was on my job. Working 40 hours a week, 80 hours every 2 weeks, getting shot at. Somebody, hey man, I get passionate about this. This is for real. So y'all look at this. I'm gonna show you the blueprint. The monthly net cash flow between my first two properties was $6,950 in my first year as a real estate investor. I was still making $1,200 every 2 weeks, $2,400 a month. My yearly net cash flow was $83,400 between my first two properties, while I was still making $36,000 as a cop. So y'all look at this. Now, how many of you guys know what net worth is? So your net worth, this is how you can become a millionaire. So they take your liabilities, they take the asset, subtract it from the liabilities, and that equals your net worth. So here it is in build number one, I had $130,000 in equity. That second building, I had $280,000 in equity. So that means I had $410,000 net worth. I was almost a millionaire just off of two properties. Next one. Now, I got this thing on the job. So everybody on the police department, in order for you to make more money, you got to get promoted. You got to lock up hundreds of people. You got to lock up, listen to how that sounds. You got to lock up hundreds of people. You got to write thousands of tickets. And then somebody got to like you. So you got to do a lot of butt kissing just to get promoted. So let me show y'all what I did. Every time they gave a promotional test, I bought a property. Every time they did a promotional test, I bought a property. So the CPD rookie in 2000, when I first started out at $36,000 a year. You need a minimum of 5 years as a patrolman to become a sergeant. And see, they don't put on there also, though, that you need to lock up 100 people and write thousands of tickets. They don't tell you all that. You need a minimum of 5 years as a patrolman to become a sergeant. If you get promoted to sergeant, you're making $67,000. And then you need a minimum of 2 years as a sergeant to go to the next level and become a lieutenant. A Chicago police lieutenant at the time was making $77,000. Then you would need a minimum of 2 years as a lieutenant to become a captain. And then the captain was making $87,000. If you just look at all of these years, if somebody loved me, if I locked up thousands of people, and 9 years went by in my life, the best I can do is make $87,000 as a Chicago police captain. But I told y'all before, I was netting. See, this is what the captain grossed. So somebody grossed $87,000. I was netting $83,000 from my first two properties at age 23. I heard one person clap. Guys, I'm showing you this to tell you, promote yourself. Promote yourself. Stop waiting around for somebody to like you. Your family is depending on you. Somebody is depending on you to be the best version of you so they can be the best version of them. I always say that one man's obedience is connected to so many other people's destiny. Who's waiting on you to be you? Don't put your kids' future on hold no more waiting on you to get promoted. You can't afford to put their education on hold no more, waiting on somebody to promote you. Do you know how many people I've worked with that said, one day, Jemal, one day I'm going to travel here. One day I'm going to live here. One day I'm going to buy this. And that one day never happened? They were waiting on promotion. I'm telling you, man, promotion comes from God. Promote yourself. You got it in you. You got it in you. Promote yourself. See, there's never been a business that has made more one percenters than real estate. I guarantee you, real estate is the one thing that everybody in this room can do. And the reason why I believe that is because you're already doing it. Everybody in here either owns a property, they either rent a property, they either lease a property. All I want to show you is what side of the register do you want to be on. Every first of the month, somebody got to pay money, and every first of the month, somebody receives the money. I'm putting you on game, man. They always mess me up with this slide right here. Man, y'all know I believe about generational wealth. That's what I'm about. Anybody that follow me on Instagram, you know, that's my language. About 8 months ago, you know, we got the family reunion committee and my family, and everybody got a family reunion committee, you know. And they did some research, and they found a will from my great-great-great-great-grandfather. This will dates back to 1878. My great-great-great-grandfather was a slave. He was born a slave, but he died a one percenter. My great-great-great-grandfather wrote this will. In this will, he put in there that he left his wife a house. He left his wife a wagon. He left her horses and mules. And he left her 20 acres of land. In his will, he put in there, he had 5 children. And he left each one of them 5 acres of land each. This was in 1878, y'all. What are you leaving your family in 2019? It's a one percenter, man. See, the one percenters leave clues. We leave clues that we existed. Who's going to know that you existed? Who's going to remember your name? What are you doing for your legacy? Here it is 141 years ago, and I'm standing on this stage talking about this man. Who's going to be talking about you 1 year after you pass? I never met this man a day in my life. But it's one thing I know about him. I know more about him than I know about family members that still living today, E. I knew this man right here loved God. I know that this man right here loved his wife because he wanted to take care of her even in death. I know that this man loved his children. A blessed man will leave an inheritance to his children's children. So I know that he was blessed. Go to the next slide, Carl. This right here It's a family crest. It's a family crest that my wife and we created. We want our family to have a sense of pride, a sense of legacy. Some of you guys invest more in other families' last name than you invest in your own last name. Some of y'all are more in love with other people's last names more than you love your own last name. Louis Vuitton, Ford. The one percenters, they leave clues, man. They leave clues. Their last name, their names mean something. Walt Disney. Some people that was one percenters, their names meant so much, they took their first and last name and turned them into billion-dollar corporations. Sam Walton, Sam's Club, Walmart. What is your name going to mean? Who are you doing this for? So we created this family crest, and I'm going to tell y'all some of it. Don't want to break it all down to you. So with this crest, at the top of it, you know, all y'all know my last name is King. And so at the top of our family crest, we got a crown. Because we want our children to know that you're royal. We want you to know, we want them to know and remember for generations to come that you're a child of God. That you are royal. You're not a mistake. You was thought about. I want my great-great-great-grandkids to have the same feeling I got when I look at my great-great-grandfather's will. I want them to know that you was thought about. Imagine that feeling. Imagine that feeling, man. Somebody preparing a place for you before you born. We got the shield and got a K on the front. It's because I want my children and those descendants to come after us to know that you always guard the name. You always guard this name. Your name means something. Let this stand, let your last name stand as a shield for anything that might come your way. At the bottom, and we did this on purpose, we put a banner that says, with God, all things are possible. The reason why we put it at the bottom is because God is this family's foundation. What's your family's foundation? What does your family stand for? What does it stand for, man? I talk to so many people, and more people care about other people's last name than their own. There's no sense of pride. At one point in time, your last name meant something. What you were able to pass on to the next generation meant something. It meant something. I'm going to bring up Carl because Carl is a prime example about somebody that wanted to do more for his family. And he's a prime example of how he's doing more for his family. So I'm going to bring Carl up, then I'm going to come right back and talk to y'all. Y'all give it up for Carl.
Don't go too far, Maul. Appreciate it. Hey, let me start here. I'm not a millionaire.
You getting
yet. All right? That wasn't the end of the sentence. It was yet. You hang around 4 or 5 of them, and it's going to happen. All right? So, but I want y'all to see this real quick. So the first slide I have, there we go. I want you guys to understand, like Maul just talked to you guys and he's been doing it for like 20 years, so some of y'all might be like, I don't know. But listen to what I'm about to tell you guys real quick. This is a year that Maul and I connected. And the information I'm going to share for you, it worked for him 20 years ago, all the way through now, and it's working for me from a year ago through now. All right? So some of you guys are familiar with the assessment. Like, can anybody see what that D, the score is? Somebody up front, read it out loud for me. 11. All right. So it's 11. Anybody knows what that means? It's low D. What is it? Low what? Low D. You don't make decisions. So I run from decisions. I run from decisions. Just being real, I want you guys to understand this. I got away with hiding with the crew because I didn't want to make a lot of decisions. Like, it's so much easier to attach yourself to something. And, you know, cool, he's a spiritual dude. He said that, like, cool, I ain't got to worry about it. We're just going to do that. But to the questions Maul just asked, he can't do that for my wife. He can't make decisions for my kids. That's not his, he can. Let me say it like this. It's not his responsibility. It's my responsibility. So the last couple of years, next slide, the last couple of years, like, it's crazy. You got to be careful of the information that you have because you assume that the information you have is absolute truth. Like, think about that for a second. The information that you think you have, you think it's absolute truth. But I'm telling you today, it is not always truth. So how many people believe just pay off your debts? Let me see a hand. Just pay off your debts. A couple of people. So Maul and I had a conversation last March, it was around tax time. And he called me, and we just been kicking it. We had met at the conferences, like C said, and we just been talking. And Maul said, no, we just talked, literally it was tax time. So I'm like, man, Maul, the real estate stuff sounds good, but I got to pay off some debt first, and then I'm going to talk to you. That's the information that I knew. Like, pay off all your debt, make sure you clean, you clear, and then you save, and you do the next thing. And Maul, like, I'll be real, the phone just kind of went silent. I'm like, hello, like, I was driving, so I'm like, hello, call drop, you there, Maul? And he was just kind of like silent. He was like, and you could hear the change in tone in his voice. He was like, and then what? I'm like, what you mean? Like I said, I'm going to pay the debt off, and then I'm going to come talk to you, and we'll do some real estate. Like, I'm excited. I heard all the stuff you say that makes sense. I got you. And he said the most transformative thing that I heard in a long time. No disrespect, E, but I heard it, this one different. You've been saying a lot of stuff for years. But he said to me, dude, your money's supposed to work for you. And I'm like, it sounds good. But again, the information I had no understanding of what that meant. And Maul said, look, I'm going to show you some simple math. And literally, he walked me through exactly the process that he's done over the last 20 years. Next slide. And I'm going to show you guys exactly, I'm telling you, I followed the exact same steps that he did starting last year. So this building, April 12th last year. 3-unit building, $110,000. The rehab cost was $40,000. So like Maul said, I didn't have to come up with all that money. My responsibility was coming up with 10% of that. Did I have it at the time? Truth be told, no. But again, whose responsibility is it to take care of my family? So I took that tax return that we talked about. I took all my savings, did not tell my wife. That one, gentlemen, be careful. Did not tell my wife, and we purchased the first property. We purchased the property, she just didn't know. But literally, I had to come up with $15,000 plus the closing cost, $19,000 total. But we'll I want you guys to see this number 4 carefully. Because Maul been doing it 20 years, and some of y'all might understand it. I didn't. What this meant was that by signing on that line, I just got 122,000 new employees to go to work for me. That's what that meant. And I didn't understand that at the time. Next slide. So literally following the exact same steps. We got it's a 3-unit building, so I have 3 families in there. And again, I'm going to go real slow. It's 3 families paying me every month to live in the building that I own. So that's 3 checks coming to me every month. Here's the kicker, that I don't have to do anything for. Like, I did the work up front, and now I'm just going to reap the rewards. So literally, the total gross rents for that property was $2,950. The mortgage payment on that was $1,375. So my net cash flow was $1,575. Next slide. So literally, gross $35,000 a year from that one building. And what did I tell you guys that I went into the property for? How much was I totally invested in? $19,000. So in a year's time, next slide, I'm going to make back exactly what I put into it. Every year. Not just the first year, every year. So this was the fun part for me, because Maul didn't give me all. Like, I think he realized that I needed step by step. So he just like, let's just work through the first property. And my thought the whole time was, well, how do you do a second one? I just put all the money I had in the first one. The number circle there, somebody just said it. See, I wasn't that smart. Somebody's like, just refi. Like, I ain't know nothing about that. Refinanced the property. Again, it was 122,000 employees that went to work for us. We own those. You get what I'm saying? We own that. So now I can actually take some of those employees and put them to work somewhere else. So I took 37,000 employees, and next slide, signed on the second property on, what was this? This was, the date's there, April 12th. So I lied on the first one. The first one was May last year. May 25th was the date, my fault. So April 12th, so less than a year later, second property. Next slide. It was funny, the buildings almost are mirror images. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, wow. Next slide. September 18th, guys, property number 3. Anybody getting a pattern? Next one. So the question that Mal asked you guys at the beginning, he was like, Carl, like, what does it cost to be you? And I told him, man, it's somewhere in the range of $4 to $5 grand, because I wasn't sure, but that number was closer to $5,000. And literally, hit the next slide. With the 3 units, my total net cash flow, you're looking at just over $5,000. So in just over a year, listen to what I'm saying, in just over a year, the lifestyle that my family has is secured for the rest of my life, for the rest of their lives, however long that lasts, it is secure. This is the part that, like, I get emotional, because here's what happens. He talked about it. When you start executing on something, oh man, it's a whole different level. So what Mal did, he literally did it to me. I won't not say for me, but Mal said, Carl, you are now a CEO of a real estate company. You're an investor. You're no longer the Carl that you used to be. And he's like, watch how you walk different. Watch how you talk different. Watch how people respond to you in a different way. And I'm telling you, it started at home. It started at home. My 2 kids, my nieces on the other side, like, we went to Barbados for 30 days earlier this summer. And this is what I invested in, their smiles. One more slide, next slide. I want you guys to just see it, like, again, like, I see myself differently, and now they're responding differently. Like, this is what it looks like for my family now. I just want to ask you guys that question, like, what would you do if you had some of your time back? Like, I'm being real, who's too busy right now? That's the whole room. And that's the root of it, guys. Like, all the stuff, next slide, Nikki. All the stuff for real. And Mal stole my text. Y'all heard that already, so I'm going to skip it. But, like, all the stuff that y'all heard today, a lot of you are struggling because you think you don't have time. Tiffany talked about connecting with your creator. You don't have time. You can't get to a lot of things that you're supposed to get to because you don't have time. And I'm telling you, what Jemal has done for me and my family is restored some time. Hit the next slide. Like, he's given me the opportunity to leave each generation ahead of the coming years. And that, like, yeah. Appreciate you, man. Go ahead. That's my time, y'all. Thank you, guys.
All right. I tell you, between CJ and Carl and all these, I be getting emotional. I ain't never cried this much as a cop a day in my life. I had to become a motivational speaker to cry. So, guys, after fighting with CJ, CJ, he came to me, and I give all credit to him, man. You know, CJ was like, you know, hey, Mal, man, everything that you're doing, he's like, bro, you got to put this on paper. You got to be able to show other people how to do this. And I was like, no, right now, man, I'm low key. I just want to, do things just for me and my family. And I'm like, I'm just trying to generational wealth for my family. And C was like, bro, it's another father that's out here that want to take care of his family the same way you took care of yours. Wow. Yes. It's somebody's child that deserves to go to the same type of schools your kids go to. And I was like, man, dog, that's deep, but I'm still only focusing on my family, you know. Then he hit me with this one. He know how I feel about E.T. So he was like, bro, what if E.T. would have just kept his message to himself? And I was like, oh. That's when it hit me. And I said, man. So before that, I believed that generational wealth was just for my family. But now, I heard God say that generational wealth was meant for me to teach this generation. It's not just for my family anymore. So we put together, Make Real Estate Real. I'm telling y'all, we have been seeing lives change. We have been seeing people's lives change. I'm sitting here telling you, here's a video. I'm gonna play this video real quick. Hey, so because I was looking at the video, I gotta ask, there was 2 people in my class, they sitting right here. They were in the first ever Make Real Estate Real class. Stand up for me. Y'all give it up for them. Now listen to this. I promise y'all, we didn't plan this. They're from Maryland? Hampton. They're from Hampton, Virginia. And they went through the class 4 months ago. 4 months ago, and they're already working on their 3rd property. Hey, let's make real estate real. So listen, y'all. So I got to always do this Bible scripture, then I'm going to come back. Guys, God wants you to be blessed. This is one of my favorite scriptures. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Guys, God wants us to have a future. He wants us to be blessed. But you have to believe that you're worthy of it. Man, thank y'all for watching my keynote. Look, I know what y'all thinking that I came a long way, but look, I'm telling you in the beginning, I did not believe that I could stand there and talk for over an hour about my own story. I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes that's why sometimes people got to believe more into you than you believe in yourself. It's crazy because I still remember that day talking to CJ and E, and they were telling me that, hey, you got to put your keynote out there. You got to put your story out there. Like, you know, somebody got to hear exactly about everything you went through and how you became successful. And I'm not going to lie. I was kind of nervous at first and just kind of almost to the point where I just didn't want to do it. But see, CJ once told me, he was like, Jemal, man, look, you're being selfish. Like there's somebody that's out there in the audience that want to be able to take care of their spouse, their wife, their children, the same exact way that you took care of your family. And he was like, bro, if you keep your story to yourself, then you're going to have to be held accountable for that. Like, bro, God blessed you so that you could be a blessing. So look, I was uncomfortable at first, but then after that, I was like, you know what, you're right. And so that's why I thought it was so important for me to tell you guys my story. I believe that everybody wants better in life. Everybody wants to get that full experience in life. So let me ask you a question. What's the biggest thing stopping you from investing in real estate? I know you guys heard me say that everyone is already in real estate. I mean, just think about it. Whether you're renting, whether you're leasing, whether you own your own home, everybody is already in real estate. Real estate is the one thing that everybody can do. Now, why do I believe that? Because you're already doing it. So what's the biggest roadblock from stopping you from investing in real estate? It's been my experience that it's been information or the lack of information. So what we've done with Make Real Estate Real is we've put together all of the information that's needed. The information that I used over the last 20 years to build wealth using real estate. Like you guys heard me say in the speech, I bought a building for every single bill that I have. And Make Real Estate Real is going to show you guys exactly how to do that. We're going to eliminate that roadblock that's been stopping you. We're going to give you all the information that you need. we're going to show you exactly how to build generational wealth through the power of real estate. We're going to show you how to get passive income, something I like to call mailbox money. For those of you that maybe don't have upfront money and you want to learn how to get in the game, we're going to show you how to wholesale. We're going to give you the tools that's needed to build a portfolio that will take care of not only you, but for generations to come. Not only will you personally learn from me, but you're going to learn from my whole team that I've used over the years that's going to teach you step by step on how to make you successful, just like I was made successful years ago. I know a lot of you are worried about or got a question saying like, hey, is this course for me? I don't know anything about real estate. Well, look, I'm sitting here telling you right now that yes, this course is exactly for you. We designed this course for that person that has no knowledge of real estate. Or even if you have knowledge of real estate and you want to take it to the next level, this course is designed for you. This course is designed for that person who has a job or who don't have a job. For that person that wants just a little bit more. They just need a little bit more help and they don't want to take on another job. This course is designed for that person who's single and need another income coming in their home. I don't have $30,000 to $40,000 to put down on a property or to invest in a property. So should I get the course now, even though I don't have that kind of money saved up? And my answer is always yes. This course will show you how to invest in real estate with little to no capital. My credit is not where I believe it should be. I gotta wait and fix my credit first before I invest in real estate. Look, my answer is always, you don't have the information to know exactly what it takes for you to invest in real estate with the credit you have. You might be ready right now. That's what Make Real Estate Real is about. In this course, we're gonna exactly show you not only what credit score that you need to invest in real estate, but how to fix your credit to get to that point. We wanted to break this thing down. Look, we're going to teach you how to make real estate real through 7 hours of easy to learn modules. Where we're going to teach you mindset, purpose, and process. We also have worksheets, cheat sheets, case studies, and a members only Facebook group with other individuals just like yourself that's making real estate real, that's succeeding all around the world. And plus you're going to get these bonuses. A 12-part masterclass on how to repair or build your credit. So now look, in this course, we taught you how to make money, but I thought it was important in bonus number 2 to teach you how to protect that, right? Here it is, you spent your time to make this money. Now in bonus number 2, we're gonna teach you how to protect your assets because we're teaching generational wealth and we wanna make sure that these assets are protected to pass on to the next generation. And that's why I'm so passionate about buying and holding. But also in this course, we're gonna teach you about having a purpose for every property you purchase. So that means that if you say that you wanna flip a property, you need to create a lump sum of money to start a business, and you're looking for where could I get the cash from, and you wanna flip properties, well, we're gonna teach you how to fix and flip. Also in this course, we're gonna teach you about the different financing available to you, the different money that's out there, the different hard money lenders that's out there. We're gonna teach you about the different conventional loans that's out there. We're gonna teach you about the VA loans to you veterans that's out there. We're gonna teach you about house hacking. Everything I've went through, everything I've learned in the last 20 years, I made sure I put in this course. I wanted to make sure that you had all of the information that's needed for you to be successful. You see, over the years, I had to learn this by trial and error. Everything that I have in this course now is everything that you need to be successful. There's no upsell, like I told you in this course before. And I promise you there will be no upsell. All the information you need is in this course. So all of my out of the country investors, look, we put this course together to simplify the process of investing in real estate in the United States. Look, this course is for you also. It will break down exactly how to identify your team or what you will need to become a successful investor in the United States. So all you guys that's got a 9 to 5 like I had, and you're thinking to yourself, where can I find time to invest in real estate? Like my job, I work so many hours at my job. Look, like you guys heard about with me in the hole, look, I'm sitting here telling you, you have time. Matter of fact, not only do you have time to invest in real estate, but you're doing this so that you can buy back your time. The time that you've already used. So look, I'm sitting here telling you, real estate is the best vehicle for passive income. You heard me say it before. It's like collecting mailbox money. Every first of the month, you're gonna receive checks from your tenants. And once you receive the gross amount of rents from that property and pay your liabilities, what you have left over is your money. See, look, just like with me, with having a job, you're receiving one check. You're receiving one check into your home. Real estate was a game changer because now I start receiving multiple checks every single month for the rest of my life. If you guys are watching this webinar right now, look, I'm telling you, you are ready. I know you got a lot of questions going through your mind right now, and you got a lot of, and it's okay. I had those same questions when I first started in real estate. I didn't have much money, and I understand what you're feeling. And so that little bit that you might have is all that you have. But I saw my life change once I took that little bit and I invested it in real estate. That's why this course was made. It was made for you so that you can do the same thing for your family. Look, I'm sitting here telling you, this has been a game changer for my family. It's been a game changer for my children. Matter of fact, it's been a game changer to everyone who's been connected to me. And now you are connected to me, and I'm sitting here giving you the same information that made everybody else successful. So we're gonna offer this to you right now for $19.97. I mean, imagine that, $19.97. This small seed will change your family's life forever. We're talking about generational wealth right now. It's time to make real estate real. Let's go.